She was last seen Sunday morning after services at Gethsemane Baptist Church on Roanoke Avenue, wearing a cream-colored pinstripe shirt and pants.
Right now, police are searching her home and neighborhood for clues into her disappearance. Chief Steve Drew told us Eure-Lewis's car has been recovered, but she has not been found.
35-year-old Shanitia Eure-Lewis always had a smile on her face. She always talked about her family, especially her 2 boys and her church. She was a very active member of her church community. Shanitia was the type of person that you could talk to about anything. Co-workers also describe her as a hard worker and a dedicated friend. She was also involved in a long-term marriage with her husband, Eure-Lewis, for 17 years, married when she was just 18 and he was 33. Everything seemed to be going great for Shanitia. Loving marriage, beautiful children, and loving friends. No one could have ever predicted the chain of events that would take place. On Sunday, July 17th, Shanitia was reported missing to the Virginia State and Newport News Police after family and friends were unable to reach her. She was last seen around 9 a.m. at her church at 5405 Roanoke Avenue. According to church members, Shanitia left to go home to get her 2 sons and bring them back to the next worship service, but never returned. The pickup truck she left church in was located in the city of Hampton. An Ashanti alert and endangered missing adult alert system was immediately issued. Police had plenty of questions for her husband and hoped he would cooperate and be willing to answer questions. The department printed out about 500 missing person flyers to help pass out to the community. Shanita's church members were devastated as they described her as an asset to the church, her community, and her job. It felt like a part of their congregation was missing. They remained hopeful throughout the initial phase of the investigation. Just 3 days after she was reported missing, a shocking revelation will be made in the case.
We really wanted to see the search warrants for Adrian and Shanita's home. Police are here on Sunday. And for Adrian's pickup truck found in the Relax Inn parking lot that had lots of blood in it. But those search warrants have been sealed. What we got were these: a police request asking for the immediate release of Apple phone and Google social media records to aid in their investigation, like confirming text messages and who was really texting.
The sister of Miss Lewis may in fact have been texting and talking with Mr. Lewis, who was in possession of Mrs. Lewis's cell phone.
Shanita's sister tells police she found Adrian throwing away Shanita's personal items, along with the tarp, perhaps to wrap a body, and a shovel to dig a grave. We asked the chief about that conversation that took place.
And the words were, "Have you seen my sister? Where's your wife? Can you tell me what's going on?"
Shanita's husband, Eure-Lewis, is charged with first-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony related to her disappearance. He is currently in police custody in Loudoun County in Northern Virginia. Police Chief Steve Drew stated in a news conference Tuesday that Shanitia Eure-Lewis's body has not yet been recovered, and although Lewis has not admitted to killing her, there's a lot of evidence against him.
He was arrested around 3 or 4 o'clock early this morning in Loudoun County at the Dulles Airport.
Eure-Lewis now faces first-degree murder charges in the disappearance of his wife, Shanitia Eure-Lewis. Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew says Lewis bought a plane ticket to Jamaica on the day his wife disappeared. He says Lewis didn't admit to killing her, but there's a lot of evidence against him. According to court documents, her 2 children saw their parents outside her sister's home arguing before she left with him in his truck. Detectives eventually found the truck.
Her purse was recovered, a pair of shoes that was identified, sandals, I believe, that were indicated by family members that was hers. There was some type of cloth or blanket, if you will, and then there was a shovel that was also recovered.
Court documents say a forensic technician confirmed a large amount of blood was found in the passenger seat.
There was blood that was recovered inside the vehicle. There was a spent shell casing that was recovered on the outside of the vehicle.
Court documents also note the couple had experienced marital problems, and earlier this month, Shanitia told her husband she wanted to file for divorce. The criminal complaint also notes Shanitia had taken all of the guns out of their home after learning Lewis was having some suicidal thoughts. It also said Lewis had called Eure-Lewis's sister and said his wife had been having an affair.
For me, I would appreciate Mr. Lewis to come forward and talk to us. There's some questions that we don't have answered that I think he has the answers to. And my heart goes out to her family, their children. That was a hard conversation for me to have this morning.
The day before, Lewis allegedly told someone else if he ever caught Shanita cheating on him, he would kill her. Then around noon, he called her sister back and told her Shanita had jumped out of the truck near the Wawa at Jefferson Avenue and Harperville's Road. He asked if she'd heard from Shanita since then. Shanita's sister texted her but never spoke to her on the phone. The criminal complaint said Lewis had his wife's cell phone and told someone else he was posing as his wife during that text conversation. The next time the children saw Lewis was about 1:30 p.m. when he came to pick them up from Shanita's sister's home. Lewis also allegedly asked a car detailer to clean his truck, and that person told police it looked like there was blood in the front seat. Lewis allegedly said it was blood from his dog who had been shot by a neighbor. Police officers say both of his dogs are healthy. CBP officers and HSI agents searched Lewis's baggage around noon Monday. In it, they found Shanita's passport and credit cards. As of right now, the body of Shanita Lewis has not been found, and Adrian Lewis's next court hearing is scheduled for September 23rd.
If someone wants to leave, let them leave. You know, I tell women this thing, this violence, is real. And when we see signs, we see these things, please, somebody speak up and speak out.
Eure-Lewis started working for Carter at C.C. Carter Funeral Home in 2014. He called her a hard worker and a dedicated friend.
It's surreal. It's just, I'm numb. And it's just like it's a dream that I hope that I can wake up.
Her co-worker Carl Chandler said people who know her are devastated. He called her an active member of her church and a loving mother.
Always had a smile on her face. She always talked about her family, especially her two boys and her church, because she loved her church.